Disclaimer: the game I'm about to review is rated M for mature. If you are uncomfortable with the following topics in fiction, this game may not be for you. Violence, blood, suggestive themes, strong language, and drug reference.
ねえ、もう準備できた？
こっちはもうすぐ出来上がるよ。
あ、そっち手伝いますよ。
ありがとう。
ビールは？
ああ、俺が外に持ってっといた。
さっき届いたピザは？
ピザも外に出しといた。
オッケー。じゃあ準備万端だな。
So, BUSTAFELLOWS sequel just came out recently, and I just finished playing it, and I enjoyed playing the game. A quick rundown for people that are not in the know. BUSTAFELLOWS is an otome game developed by Nippon Ultra Broadcasting Extend Inc. with producer Mintaka back in 2019, and the English version for it released in 2021. It takes place in a fictitious city called New Sieg in America, and you can play as a journalist called Tueta. She's awesome, love her, a cinnamon roll. But unfortunately, she has to go through a series of traumatic events that leads to her discovering superpowers. She can go back in time, but the catch is it's only for a brief moment and not too far out, and it's never herself. It's someone else's body that she takes over, and she can't choose which body she spawns in. And there's romance, of course, because it's an otome. So you just gotta also survive and find clues, search for data, and help those around you. And then you could, have your little date with your boy. Yay! The people we can romance are Limbo, Shu, Helvetica, Mozu, Scarecrow. And actually, that's it. Yeah. And don't worry, they're all really good people. Trust me. Don't worry about what they do as a career. Yeah. It covers the themes of death, morality, justice, family, classism, and love. Personally, I think this game was groundbreaking for the otome genre. It didn't have any crazy gameplay or mechanics that made it stand out necessarily. In fact, I would say it works like most basic otome games do. I think it was groundbreaking because of the little details that surrounded the base of the game. The cinematics, the art, the sound design, it was really top-notch and polished. I am unsure who I should credit this idea to. It could be the scenario/producer Mintaka or worldview designer Takahashi Koya, but whoever decided to add background conversations from the NPCs while the main character Tueta is talking to someone else or somebody talking to somebody else is a genius. It helps with world building, and I also like how sometimes the characters can even talk over each other like real people would do. A lot of people share the same sentiment of this being a really good game because it gained a lot of traction not only in JP but in the West as well, which led up to the release of the second game in 2023. And now the English side of the fandom gets to dig in too. For the new people here checking this out or new fans who are currently playing BUSTAFELLOWS 1, do not, I repeat, do not play Season 2 until you complete all routes in the first game. If you don't, you will be spoiled by major events and plot twists that will be carried on from the first game. They also do a bunch of references and expand on some themes from different routes in the first game and the common route of the second game. Sometimes even drawing direct parallels, I've noticed. Truly bring everything to a full circle. See what I did? Now let's get into the review. And don't worry, I'm keeping it spoiler free. There are some major differences from Season 1 and Season 2. However, what does stay the same is the jump skip option that still exists. If you press it, you'll skip to the next choice or any unread dialogue, and it makes replaying so much more easier. The time choices are still here, and we still have some extra scenarios to read, which is nice. What changed is the UI. The UI is now a wheel. At first I didn't know how to feel about it. I think it's more natural to play it on the Nintendo Switch than the PC, but with the PC you could just use the mouse. Same thing with Nintendo Switch, you could just click on what you want to do. Honestly, it's a bit hard to see all the options when you're using it for the first time, because it's kind of like you have to like scroll or click on it to see what it actually is, because the transparency and all that stuff. But once you've like used it like once or twice, you know where everything is now, and it's just like just click on where you need to go. Super easy. I think I like the wheel better more than the square UI that they had. This title screen is more immersive with characters talking in the background. I like that. It's kind of like a way to ease you in and get you immersed in the game by like having like the music playing and then like the characters talking in one ear. Oh yeah, make sure to play this game with headphones. I mean, it won't take away if you don't play with headphones, but I think it's more better if you do. Since this is a sequel, you choose the route you want to go in the beginning. The opening theme, I like this opening theme way more better than the first one. It's a vibe. It's a lo-fi vibe. Thank you, bestie. Also, we can save during options now. I don't think we could do that before. I'm pretty sure that was like a little annoying to do, because you had to rewind like a dialogue one back and then you can save. Now we could save during the choices, which is great improvement. I'm now going to mention some new characters that have appeared in the first part of the prologue, aka the ones that were featured in the demo. You can skip to the time to the bottom left of the screen if you wish to not be spoiled on how these characters look. For my first impressions, we have Guero. Yes, I know that means it's Spanish for blonde. He's not blonde. I find that very funny. He's the son of the Neruda family. They're like mafia, and he's coming back, and he's like, I'm back from Mexico, and I'm here. I'm a boss. And honestly, I will listen to him. I mean, look at that dude, hot. Oh yeah, and then he has Wolfie. I appreciate muscular men, and I'm glad that Pepe isn't the only muscular man. By the way, Pepe, he's so much cuter in this season. I don't know what it is. It's something in the air. Maybe it's because we know him better now, but like I love that dude. Watcher, he's a blue-eyed freak. That's my first impression of him. He's just, everything about him is freaky, and it's hard for me to like trust him just because of the way it looks. But then after like a while, I was like, oh, I'm okay, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with it. Juno, I thought he was stuck up. I thought he was stuck up, bro. But no, that's just like how he carries himself. I think he grew to be like my favorite. I really like the way that he carries himself, and I like how he talks and interacts with Tueta. And I think in one of the routes, we get to have like a more like deeper, still like kind of small talk, but like deeper convos with him, and it's refreshing. It's like a nice palate cleanser before we jump back into the plot. I see his face, I'm like, okay, we can relax a little bit. We could just have a little nice chat. We could talk about the weather. It's nothing big is gonna happen. The common route, or prologue I should say, feels a bit shorter than the common route in the first game. I don't think it is, though I never checked. It's hard to compare because the prologue is cut up much more differently than the first game, which had 3 big chapters, and we had a cinematic logo that transitioned to those big parts. Here instead, we can visually look through the timeline, or they have like a flow chart and they separate everything into parts instead of chapters. The next part unlocks as you go through it, and you can see which choices you haven't picked. Honestly, a really huge advantage for people who want to 100% the game, as it makes going back and replaying other choices a much more smoother process. Because if you forget to like save at a certain point, you could just click on a part and the story will pick up from that part, and then you can do jump skip to the choice that you want to like change on, or to like new dialogue that you didn't reach yet. It makes life so much easier, and you don't have to save as often, and I really like that they did that little flowchart thing. I really appreciate it. Now for the routes, they don't really tell you what is the recommended route to do, and none of the boys' routes are locked. So you could do whatever you want, honestly. I mean, the way that they present the UI and the choices in the game, it's always like a certain order. So if you want to follow that certain order, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. But still, if you want to follow that certain order, it is Limbo, Shu, Helvetica, Mozu, and then Scarecrow is at the end. What I did personally, because I like doing a route that I don't really like first, and then a route that I really like second, and then not like I keep switching between the two. What I did was Limbo first, then I did Mozu, and then I did Shu, and then I did Helvetica, and then I did Scarecrow. Yeah. I couldn't wait to play. Bro, I really wanted to play Mozu's Route, bro. You could not make me wait. If you chose to do differently, go ahead. It's not gonna affect the gameplay or story in any way. If anything, everything's pretty much locked into its own route. So all the routes kind of start in the same way. Like they introduce like the same problems and then they get to their own little thing. But I like that they did that because you can kind of see how the boys handle certain situations and how they choose to resolve them with Toetta. Another thing about this otome game is that it really reflects on what's going on with America in general. Like, not only they talk about like really dark concepts like death and morality and all that, but they do mention political unrest. They do mention issues with immigration. They do mention police brutality. So just keep that in mind. It's very real. It's very, very relatable, unfortunately. But it's a nice change to see this in the media that I consume, and instead of, you know, worrying about it in real life, I can worry about it in the game. Will Ice get my favorite character in this game? Who knows? Limbos Route. Limbo. I really want to see a lawyer just react to his route. Just because, like, the things that he does in court is kind of crazy, and I'm just like, that doesn't seem like you can get away with that. But I guess that's why they call him the crooked lawyer. Anyways, I mean, this is also repeated in the other routes, but the found family and the characters in this game are so well written, and their personalities are so strong, and they're so entertaining to watch because of that. We get to see the boys fret, and they check up on the couple, they cheer them on, or, you know, become a couples counselor or whatever. It's also really funny to see how the boys try to give these couples space, or how like the love interest tries to chase the boys away so they can have like one-on-one with Toetta. I also think this route is way more stronger than season 1, just like in terms of romance. Like, oh, it gets steamy. The comedy in this route, it's all right. Some jokes from season 1, like inside jokes, still carry on to season 2. The angst, honestly, this was lighthearted. I feel like we could focus more on the romance just because the problems weren't like as serious. Also, I feel like Limbos Route has a lot of memorable CGs that just really stuck out to me throughout the entire game. There's one that I really liked that was near the conclusion of the route. Yeah, it's all of the CGs on Limbos Route I think were like really good compared to the other routes. Next up is Mozu's romance. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted more, but because of circumstances, it's kind of hard to write that in, just because of like the issues that they decided to tackle and the topics that they decided to tackle, which were very realistic. I love the comedy in this route too. It's only because, honestly, Mozu himself, that's why I like him so much. He's just so funny. I just love seeing him try to interact with other people. Angst? Debs, why do you like to make Mozu suffer? Yeah, it destroyed me. I couldn't even bring myself to press continue. I had to put it in auto because I was so distraught. The foreshadowing was so good too. The side character that gets introduced in this route, how do I put this? I really wanted to like them, but the way they're written is very realistic, and it's hard. Looking back on it now, they were almost suffocating the story. I felt like at some point they were going to take control of this route just because of how much presence they were taking up in the story. But unfortunately, other parts of the story suffered since they didn't have as much attention due to the nature of the situation. And I'm bummed out by that, just because I wanted to see more. of the other situations that they brought up in this route, but we put so much energy and focus on this one person and in this one situation or incident that it just snowballed to something bigger. I've actually read online that some people ended up liking Mozu less after this because of the way that he handled things with Toetta when he was pressured and under stress by the situation at hand. And honestly, Mozu isn't really the best person when it comes to these type of things just because of his past trauma. And they showed that he had a struggle to handle that type of stuff a little bit in season 1, but didn't expand on it like they did in season 2. Because this time it wasn't as black and white as it was in season 1. We also did kind of get a hint during the prologue on how he would handle situations like this when it comes to morality. I'm not saying what he did was okay, but I'm saying it's understandable why he handled things the way he did. And that's a flaw. That's a character flaw, and it's okay for him to have that type of flaw. And to me, I can tolerate that flaw. For others, probably not. This route solidified also that Helvetica and Shu, they're like the designated therapists of the friend group for this game. It's kind of funny because like I feel like they clock in, they're like, oh, she got an issue. All right, it's your turn to talk to her, not me. Also, this route solidified to me why I like Mozu so much. I enjoy emotionally suppressed characters that try to find themselves and their emotions. In this route, we got to see him break out of that shell a little bit more, and it's so cathartic to see. After I finished the route, I think it's because of the themes that they touch up upon, but I started exercising. I started thinking about my health choices. I'm just like, ooh, I gotta think. I gotta reflect. Shu. I really liked his route too. And honestly, it was also like really thrilling. Shu, compared to the other characters, he is obviously the oldest, so he is more experienced and he navigates through the problems so much more smoother than Mozu and Limbo. He knows exactly what to say, and he brings it up as soon as he realizes it, and he's quick to catch on to. The romance, it's pretty steamy, but I think they did more off screen. And then, comedy was peak. Honestly, I think it was because the characters shine the most in this route than any other route. Like, I just felt like they really felt like family here compared to the other routes. The angst in this route is just, ooh. I don't want to say it's like the saddest. Well, no, it is. It is the saddest. It's the worst. And it definitely was the most entertaining story for me to read, just because during like the thrilling parts, I had to like get up and start pacing around the room while reading because I was just that cooped up in it. I was like, oh my god, ooh, what's gonna happen? Kind of feeling. I remember when I finally got to the happy end for Shu's route, I was like, why am I like still crying? Isn't this supposed to be happy? Why am I still having tears coming down out of my eyes? Something's wrong. Toetta though, I think this is just me and the type of person that I am, but she like becomes like super pouty with Shu compared to like the other characters. Like, yeah, she pouts a little bit, but like she does it extra with Shu. And I think it's because like she knows she can like rely on him, and that's like, you know, a really nice feeling to have. But god dang, it personally it got a little annoying for me. When Toetta started acting like that, it kind of reminds me of like guys that like come up to me and would say like, ooh, I'm so tall. I'm like really? That's it? Like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like, I get it. Can we move on, please? Oh yeah, it was also really funny to see the difference between season 1 Shu and season 2 Shu. He's such a softie, bro. He's such a softie now. I love that. He's so cute. At the end of the day, all of these men are just green forests. Green after green leaf. Green after green flag. One recommendation I have for this route is when you get to like near the end, I suggest playing it at night, just for the extra comfy experience. For immersion. Next up is Helvetica. the way that the route started was kind of shocking to me. I was like, oh, this was happening? Wait, when? Where? How? Was this implied? I think it was implied in the first season, but I never caught on. To me, when I first played this, I was like, this is a new development. This is a huge development. So yeah, it starts off pretty crazy and it continues to be crazy. For romance, there's a good amount. It's just like, I feel like the angst just takes control of the entire route. It's just suffering after suffering after suffering after suffering. I'm just like, are we sure did we make it? Are we alive? Like, I was not really concerned about romance at that point. Comedy, no, not really. Does like sexual innuendos and like, I guess that's funny. I did giggle. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. He's my least favorite love interest. But it isn't because he did anything, okay? Just not to my taste. I still very much enjoyed the route. Very, very much, actually. It was hella thrilling. I think I was screaming the entire time, going like, what? Oh my god! Oh my god, what the hell? And just like Shu, he does navigate through the issues of the relationships way more easily. I find it so adorable how honest and clear he was with her. His hidden side really grew on me as well, and I think that's why a lot of people like Helvetica. So yeah, the story had me wrapped around its finger, bro. But Toyota's choices will be more naive than you may think. Just a reminder, she is 21. You were 19 2 years ago, so it's like, they're still kind of like, not really, but they are starting to be an adult. I could totally see people being annoyed or frustrated by it, her choices, and I think at some points I was too. But don't worry, even the characters in the game got really frustrated with her in this route. I want to say I like Helvetica more, or maybe I just trauma bonded to the relationship, but I think I like him more after this route for sure. In all seriousness, I like the fact that he's willing to be vulnerable. He's a pretty boy with a pretty brain and a pretty heart. Yeah, sure, he knows how to talk with the ladies, but he's vulnerable when it comes to talking about his weaknesses with Toyota and his fears too. It's admirable. It doesn't make me think he's pathetic. If anything, it makes him brave. And last but definitely not least, Scarecrow. Oh my god, I am sad. So like, the romance in this route is so wholesome. When I was playing this route I was like, oh my god, this is my OTP. I need them together all the time. They're so cute. My sillies, my little sillies. He's just so caring. He worries a lot behind the scenes about everyone and his found family. And like, we saw this in other routes too, but they highlight this a lot in his own route, and I'm just like, oh my god, the way that he resolves everything. He's such a like, oh. Of course, this route is probably like the most funniest as well. It's so comedic. I think I was laughing the most for this route, as you do though, because Scarecrow just himself is just funny. The angst, it's not lighter than Limbos, but it's definitely not as dark as Helvetica's or Mozu, I feel like. But yeah, he's consistent. I feel like even if we weren't in his route, he would still like care about her just as much. My favorite topics were talked about the most in this route. You can find a lot of good quotes in this route that I feel like are very relevant to today and its society. It's probably like one of my favorite messages that they delivered out of the entire game so far. Also, why did everybody and their mama show up in this route, by the way? I feel like Scarecrow's route has so many side character appearances. Like, I remember in the first game, there was like a lot of people that showed up, but this, they upped the factor. I'm like, god dang, why are we seeing this person here? What's going on? If I had to compare it to season 1, I feel like we get more romance in season 2 and we get less angst. Which, you know what? I like it. I also like the dialogue in this route. It's just funny. I like the way that they localize some things. I was like, yo, this is good. This is peak right here. There was also, I think, like this BGM. I think it's exclusive to his route, but I feel like this one BGM, I don't know what it is. It's good. I think it's like my favorite BGM out of the entire game. After you complete all the routes, there is another route that just gets unlocked and it plays right away. Like the first game, it's really plot focused. There really isn't meant to be like a lot of romance. It's also a little bit longer than the first game. A lot of points are cleared up. It's very well paced. It's very, very, very thrilling. And it went beyond my expectations because a lot of what if scenarios and things that I was like speculating about were answered here. It really, really went beyond my expectations, and I'm satisfied with what they gave us. Another thing, if you have BUSTAFELLOWS Season 1 downloaded on your device and you load up Season 2 for the first time, you will get a pop-up that says, here's your secret. It's just a little tidbit. It's not a major spoiler. You can play this first. I was worried that it would be like a big spoiler for something later in the game, but it really isn't. It just talks about the events before Season 1 and Season 2. It's kind of like a prequel. Before meeting the boys. And I think this scenario was briefly like mentioned in one of the routes. Not a big deal if you don't get this, to be honest, unless you care about tidbits like that. But yeah, if that's just something to keep in mind if you want to 100% this game. I do think that there's a slight bug with the skip option on the Switch, where if you have skip on, it will not play any of the voice lines of the unread text until you turn skip off.
Konnichiwa.
Oh, 君はあのクリニックの妻が世話になってるよ。
It's a bit annoying, but luckily there's the replay voice line option when you go into the log, so that's good. I tested it out on the Switch and I tested it out on the PC, and the skip option is a bug on both. This is not the case for Season 1. Season 1 did not have this skip bug issue. So yeah, they accidentally made a mute button. But yeah, would I say, do you experience more romance in Season 2? You know what? I'm gonna say yes. I'm talking about in it. Exaggerating, but these CGs, they do deliver in some of the routes. I think games like BUSTAFELLOWS are so important to the otome genre. It's doing something completely different to help diversify the genre, which is always good in my book. It shows that the industry is evolving for the better and that it's healthy and growing. I wish for more games in the future to be influenced by the BUSTAFELLOWS franchise so we can get more detail-oriented games like this. Because yeah, sure, we can get another like noir or mystery type of game, but if another game did like the same thing, like have side convos in the background, I think that would make the game a lot more fun. You can really tell the developers behind this game truly do care about their characters and the message that they're delivering to their audience, and that's what I care about. If you care, I care.